This is Niger Elite Check. So if you're just joining us, please let me know that you can hear me, that the audio is fine now. By reason of that, the audio is good and you can hear me clearly. So let's go to your childhood. How was your childhood? What was it like? Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Ibadan. I was born in Ibadan. My dad was working in Lagos, but the rest of us were based in Ibadan. My mom and the rest of us. I'm the last of 6 children. Three ladies and then three gentlemen. Happened to be the last. And my sporting influence stems from my dad and my two other brothers who were sports buff. So I think I just took that DNA from them and got interested in sports at an early age. My brother used to regale me with all kinds of football stories. And I grew up in a household where my dad too had a fairly decent knowledge of football and actually kind of gave us our first football education with his son. So I went to primary school in Ibadan, went to government college in Ibadan. I came to Lagos for my A-levels at the Lagos State. We used to call it Lacoste Tech, Lagos State College of Science and Tech. And then I went back to Ibadan, to University of Ibadan, where I studied biochemistry and graduated in 1986. So basically, that was a childhood. Served in Abuja. As usual, looked for a job for a couple of years. Got a job in an oil industry, an oil company, so to speak. And then after a couple of years, I went back to media school. And before I hit the ground running, when I joined GBN in 1994. For me, secondary school was fun. Secondary school was where I met the students who were classmates. Both of us had this common interest in sports. The whole school knew us as the two sports crazy guys. We both played a bit of football. I played a bit of cricket, a bit of volleyball, and then all of that. And then that's basically what it was. You know how it was in the 70s? Very, very child, very, very nice, happy upbringing, very strict parents, even stricter teachers in school and all of that. But hey, we survived all of that and here we are today.
Let's talk about school. What position did you play when you played football?
I was a striker. I'll tell you a funny story. In government college, but in those days, you had to be, you were if you're in Form 1A, you are going to be in Form 1 without A class till you get to Form 5. So your classmates from Form 1 are your classmates till Form 5. So Deji happened to be in Form, I think it was B, the B class, where the B class was ABC. And in the B class, I made the team. I was the striker for the team. And Deji was one of those that would beg and appeal to play because he didn't make the team.
Are you serious?
Yes. He didn't make the class team. I'm talking of one arm of the class. You know, fast forward, after we left school, Deji Tinubu went to school in Birmingham. I think it was the Birmingham Polytechnic. And he, if not for his dad, he was going to, I think Aston Villa, I think Birmingham, I can't remember which of the two teams now, actually wanted him on schoolboy trials, or wanted to give him schoolboy forms.
Wow.
You know, so you can imagine the pool of talent we had in Nigeria. If somebody who practically could not make his class team gets to England, it just goes to tell you the
your audio is breaking.
There were excellent footballing schools as well. As there were schools in Ibadan, then there were fantastic for football. So you can imagine the situation. He nearly became a professional footballer despite not making his class team in secondary school.
That's very ironic. And to think that I saw him play in his 50s, and he spoke about how good he was as a player, and to find out that in secondary school it was hard for him to make his class team.
Yeah,
that's interesting. It just shows that how people evolve and how we probably shouldn't write people off early. Okay, so let's go to your your early career life. You left, you did biochemistry,
Yeah.
worked in the oil service industry, and then sports. How did that segue,
Yeah.
how did that turn happen? How did that detour happen?
Well, you have to say that, those days, even though we had guardians, counselors in school, you have to admit that a lot of our parents were interested more majorly in the sciences. They wanted you to become an engineer or a doctor, maybe someone wanted you to be a lawyer, and all of that. And I was doing well in the sciences. So I ended up in the science class, and I ended up studying chemistry at the university. So right from secondary school, I always had this pool of sports. Even though I wasn't good enough to make the school team, I think I was the loudest noise on the supporters club team. And I was the one that went to watch matches, and I came back and wrote reports. I think I said it the last time, but for the benefit of those who probably were not here, there was this school in Ibadan then, Methodist Boys High School, and they always spanked us. They always beat us. They were like how would I put it now? They were like the obstacle to us winning the Oyo State or the Ibadan Principal's Cup. When we got to the finals or semi-finals, we always kind of tended to meet them, and they always knocked us out, more or less. So this particular year, I think I was in Form 4, Form 3, can't remember exactly now. And then there was so much tension when we did the final and the match ended. I think there was a crowd disturbance and all of that. The authorities now said the match is played in Oyo. And the two schools were in Ibadan, so it was like banishing the game to Oyo so that you won't have too much of a crowd. You have a crowd you can control. So up to Oyo, we went to play the replay, so to speak. And then we finally beat them with the last minute penalty. The match was 1-1. They had a last minute penalty. The original penalty taker ran away from the score. But another young player came on and took the penalty and scored. And another interesting story then was the finally beat the man that coached them. And they pushed that I think that they transferred to GTI, so it was now GTI. So we knew that very well, and eventually we won that game. So a lot of students did not go because we were really about 40 or 50 of us followed the team to do our coaching. And when we got back, realizing that a lot of people did not watch, I sat down. You know those full cap spread on the full cap, those long exercises. I took that one out and I wrote the match report. I still remember my headline was "Dramatic Finish as GTI earns the last minute penalty." And then I wrote it and I posted it on the notice board just by the dining hall. And in the evening when we came to eat the next day, I saw like 20 to 30 students leaning and stretching their necks to eat what I had written. And I was not even a member of the press club. So that made me feel very good at what I've written. Some of these students are reading it. And the people came and said, Deji, the way you wrote that report, it transported us to the venue. It made us feel like it was. And the funny thing was, when I was watching the match, I wasn't just taking any notes like a journalist. I was just watching. But it was like I had photographic memory. I remembered, I described the goals, the equalizers, and the circumstances leading to the penalty. And the only person I wasn't happy was the original penalty taker, who I let the whole team know that he ran away, taking the penalty, and all of that. So that was what I would call my first contact, or the first time I showcased an ability to be a sports journalist. But I was in the science class, and it continued from there. But when I was working in the oil industry, a friend of mine, Genga Baji, and my older brother, Muiwa, who was one of my inspirations, was like, while I was working, I wasn't enjoying what I was doing. So one time I came to Lagos. I think I was in Benin. I was working in Benin, Enugu, Port Harcourt, traveling around. I was a sales marketing executive. So my brother called me and said, Deji, you don't seem to be enjoying this job, even though you are working. So I told him I wasn't enjoying it. That I didn't enjoy the traveling. I didn't enjoy the risk. You know, those times, Benin, Asaba Road, armed robbery all the time. I really wasn't enjoying it. My brother said, look, if you're not enjoying this job, pack it all in. You know you have this.
Uncle Deji, I think your earpiece is twitching.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's better now.
Okay.
So
So my brother was like, why don't you follow your, I thank God that I had a brother like that who was my anchor when I took a decision that was very unpopular, especially among friends. So he said, okay. So I said, well, there are courses at NIG. I didn't want to just come back and jump into an industry I had no experience in. Apart from my little experience in secondary school, we counted for nothing really in the scheme of things. So I went to NIJ, made some inquiries about courses they were doing. I found a short-term course and a long-term course. My brother was like, do the short-term course, which was a 6-week course. If you like it, I will sponsor you to do the full-time 1-year course. I think it was 6,000 naira or something you had to pay for that course, which was a decent amount of money. It was 92, 93. So I went there, I did the short-term course, and obviously it was something to my doing, it was something I liked. I went full-time, so I resigned. My uncle that got me the oil company job, I could not go back to him. I couldn't go back to him to tell him I'd left that. Although my brother told me to go back and tell him, but I just couldn't do that. The funny story was a year later when I started at GBA, he was just somewhere with his friends and he saw me on TV and he was like, what's Deji doing here? And some of the friends were like, you know him? Some of the friends said, yeah, he's my nephew. The guy said, this guy is a sports guy, blah, 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 blah. So he called my brother. And my brother said, you didn't go to tell uncle you had left the But it all ended well. We eventually apologized. He said, no, that it's good to follow your passion. And from the way people are talking about you, you look in a good job. He was actually my main supporter when I launched my book 3-4 years ago. So it ended well. But so that's basically my story of how I got into the sports industry. But I do not want to jump over one fact. When I was starting out at NIJ in '93, Larry Zamoje had a video club opposite NIJ, opposite the main gate of NIJ. I used to go there. It was always the younger people who was there. I used to go there, borrow tapes to go and watch at home after finished classes on weekends. So one of these days I went to borrow videos. Larry was there. So the sister said, I called him and said, this is one of our best customers, blah, blah, blah. So Larry and I got talking. We became friends. I think eventually he felt like, I have this radio show. You look like doing a bit about football. Why don't you be joining me to do analysis? Larry was doing a show then, that time. So that's how I started following him. It was, I think, Bonvita Sports Special. That '93, the Super Eagles were trying to qualify for the World Cup for the first time. So he would come and pick me in my house in Ogba. We would drive to Abeokuta on Saturdays. Even there was environmental, he was a pressman, we could move around. So that was how a few friends started hearing me. I was like, Deji, were you the one I heard on radio? Wow, you sounded good. So my first experience of a broadcast studio for sports was Larry Zamoje's show in Abeokuta. And Larry and I have had a fantastic relationship from then up until now. Very, very eternally grateful for him for giving me that opportunity. And once I got into that studio, it just hit me that this is really what I wanted to do.
What I should be doing.
Fast forward, I finished at NIJ. NIJ, at times preparation, they say preparation means opportunity. NIJ at that time, when you finished I first of all did a 6-week broadcast journalism course. Then I now did a full 1-year postgraduate diploma for non-journalism graduates, for people who didn't study journalism. It was a full-time course. And By the time you finished, you needed to do a 3-month industrial attachment at a station. One day I was going through the papers. That was 94, I think just before the World Cup, the USA 94. I was going through the papers and I just noticed the name. When I was in UI final year, I was president of the Rotary Club. And the president of the Rotary Club, University of Ilorin, was a gentleman named George Abara. So I just noticed the name that George Abara was the general manager at DBN Sports International. So I told myself, this could only be the George Abara that I know. So off to the office in Ikoyi I went, and lo and behold, it was George Abara that was my friend and colleague from Rotary Club. So automatically I got the IT job. It was 3-month stint without pay. But by the time I finished the 3 months, I think I'd made quite an impression enough. And the boss called me and told me, hey, we're starting a TV station next year. Come and join us. We're going to be very heavy on sports. And like they say, the rest is history.
Well, let's go to DBN. And was it that the promoters of DBN at the time saw that there was a huge vacuum for sports content or creating sports content or putting sports content on TV at the time for them to segue into being heavy on sports? Or was it that they saw that probably the NTA, who seemed to be the beacon of broadcast in the country, weren't doing enough with respect to broadcasting sports?
Well, no, not exactly. The owner or the proprietor, the owner or whatever you want to call him of DBN had been involved in sports before he got the TV license. Osasoni Adu, I think it was the 1984 Olympics, Los Angeles Olympics. He was a sports marketer who got the rights for the Olympics for Africa. He did he did USA. I said USA. Los Angeles Olympics in 84. He put it 84. He was one that marketed Maroc 88. Maroc 88 was the first time the African Nations Cup be on international channels like BBC and Eurosport back then. He was one that did all of that. So he had a background in sports. Although the license he got to start DBN TV was not a sports license, so to speak. But because he had that passion for sports, and he already had a portfolio of sports content anyway from his past relationship with sports. So he now decided that it had nothing to do with NTA, it had to do with the passion of the owner, Osasoni Adu. So he now decided that his own station was going to be very heavy on sports. And it just fell into a time where the interest in football, particularly in Nigeria, was huge because of the exploits of the Nigerian Super Eagles at USA 94, which again his station in the company DBN Sports International marketed on NTA. That was my first experience of I was working in the background as a marketing executive, putting things together and all of that for that one. So and he had the TV license, he was going to start the station in 95. So he just put us together, and based on my own experience, I come there as a sports person. Particularly, I remember an incident where the person in charge of news wanted to force me to news, and I told him if I was not doing sports for TV, that I was going to resign.
I won't be here.
Sorry? That I won't be
here.
You
won't be here.
The man left me and allowed me to do what I wanted to do. So the gentleman came and one funny incident was that when we started planning the station in terms of content and all of that, at a meeting, I went over my head. I was a bit too loud-mouthed. I was like, why don't we try and be a sports channel? Because I felt DBN Sports International. My boss looked at me and said, do you know what it costs to buy sports content? Do you know how expensive sports content is and all of that? So I think to humble me, he told me, okay, you want sports? Okay, I'll give you 7 hours of sports on a Saturday. Let's see what you can do with that. So that was set out to me as a challenge, which thankfully I embraced, and it turned out to be the turning point for me in terms of the 7 hours. We call it Sports Power from 12 to 7. It turned out to be the most vibrant and the most commercially viable program we had at that time. And then
my partner in crime at that time was Deji, who was in England. Anytime there was a major sporting event, DSTV was not so popular at that time. It was, you had these big satellite dishes.
The big dishes.
Very few people could afford that. And I think there was a company in Ikeja as well. Is it Disc Engineering?
Disc Engineering, yes.
Engineering was in Ikeja as well. It was only the real big boys, quote and unquote. It was in the days of not 9 Not many people had it. So it was only the not 9 Not cell phone guys probably could afford those things in their homes and offices. So any event that happened, any major football match, anything that happened in the course of the week, the people will help me to record it. It was in England at that time. We would go to the airport, look for somebody coming back to Nigeria with the tape. I would go to the airport to meet probably total strangers to collect the tape and all of that. And I remember the time, I think we went Tyson, I think it was Tyson.
Tyson and Spinks.
Spinks fight. Nobody has seen it in Nigeria. And Deji recorded it for me. And I told Modi by the time I came on air with that tape, everything just went through. My boss was so happy and all of that. So, and then I also, DBN TV then, our boss decided in the Lagos area, he did not want anybody or any face on his station who was known to the Lagos audience. He wanted completely fresh faces, which was a master stroke. So I wasn't known on TV in Lagos area. All the other guys, even those who were experienced, were people that came to Lagos from other stations outside Lagos, Kuga from Benin, some from Abeokuta, from Abeokuta, some from Benin, some from Jos, and all of that. So that's how DBS started. And then by extrapolation, I myself also decided I was not going to use the regular guy that everybody was seeing on NTA. There was no AIT then. On NTA, and I think it was Clapperboard there. I was going to use the same guys. So I looked around, luckily I ran the studio at that time, but I ran into Shola Yotoku. Shola's office was 3 or 4.
Well, just down the road.
Just down the road.
It was FSB International Bank, actually.
FSB. I think it started with
it was FSB International Bank, then he went to Prudent Bank.
Okay. So I got a different Shola, so I Shola to do this, a couple of years, I think Bajela, then of course the came back. There was a sponsor design as well, very, very good guy. Very football accent, but football brain was something else. So that's how the thing started. Then I got to see of my colleagues. I was very busy who was then a writer, who was writing basketball. So I tried to have an expert in any sport. Every time I wanted to discuss basketball, I thought there is or female football or local football, which was okay.
Uncle G, you need to adjust that cord. It's touching your earpiece. It's fine now.
Okay, maybe I need to hold it permanently in place.
It's fine now.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's okay now. So we're talking about when you're talking about when
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Sorry?
No, go continue, sir.
I know, I said, but it was my go-to guy for basketball and local football, especially female football as well. So I try to have guys who are like experts in various fields, and we just try to do things differently. And we try to create the impression that sports was something any regular guy could do. Because, it was the late Capri that told me that in those days, sports, if you come to the station and they don't know what to do with you, they tell you go to sports. So it was more or less for maybe the ne'er-do-wells, the ones who didn't go to school and all of that. So we try to change the face of sports by saying, hey, regular guys could do sports, and thank God I think we made a success of it.
Please, if you're having, I'm sure, is audio better now? Because I can see the gentleman said the message that is struggling with the audio. Is it okay now? Because I can hear him. And if you can't hear me, let me know, please. You can just raise up your hand. If you can't, okay, so I think we are fine. Okay, so it's interesting that you built a team that had different people with different specialties. Uncle Bode had basketball and female football. Deji Omotoyinbo had, international football. And then over the years, you had people like Joseph Faulkner for boxing. You had Tola Badekale and Lekon and Leia Duloju for tennis. Is it that when SportVision is looking to get guys to join the team, is that something that you particularly look out for? People's individual specialty? Because today in the market, you don't see people do that anymore. Everybody wants to be like an all-rounder.
Well, I felt that, I personally felt that everybody had specialties. Everybody had interests and these specialties in the area of sports. Like one of the first programs we put on air as a team, as SportVision was an athletics program on AIT. It was what do you call these meetings now?
Golden League.
The IF Golden League. That was actually the first TV program, and Deji was a fantastic athletics analyst. Deji Omotoyinbo. A lot of people might not know that. Athletics was actually his first love. It was athletics before football.
Oh, okay.
So when I left DBN, Atlanta 96 was a blast. Atlanta 96 on DBN. Somebody as respected as Emeka Anyadike will still tell you that broadcast was one of the best he had been involved in. And for somebody who had worked in a station like SuperSport, that's quite something, because we had fun, we were popping champagne. And good thing for us was that NTA, because of the time difference, DBN was the only station on air at that time. NTA would close down at about 11, 12. Because of time difference, when Chioma won a gold medal, when the football teams won their matches, the great match against Brazil and the finals against Argentina, DBN was the only station on air showing that live. So we had that competitive advantage over NTA because we were running round the clock at that point in time. So when I left DBN after the France 98 World Cup and Deji had come back and we had decided, I just felt that there was a niche, there was a vacuum of quality sports content that we could fill. And that for you to do quality sports content, that would be, because I never felt inferior to anybody I was watching abroad. For that, you needed people who were specialists in various films. I felt a case of jack of all trades, master of all, did not cut it. So when we were going to start 90 minutes at AIT, we had drawn up the program, Deji had drawn up the program and all of that, all these things. And I told Deji, I said, look, we can't have a football show that goes and talks about all these countries and we pretend as if there's no football being played in Nigeria. That no matter how bad it was, we had to showcase it. And Deji was like, well, how are we going to do that? I definitely don't know enough about local football. You as a presenter cannot be an analyst at the same time. So I told him not to worry. I have the perfect man for the job. So that's how I approached Bode Ogutui, and Bode Ogutui joined our team. And we had a 15-minute segment of the local league then on 90 minutes when it started. And, interestingly, that segment was the first to get sponsorship. That it was Pepsi that came up. Pepsi was sponsoring the league then. I think they ran into the show, they liked it, and they came forward, and they gave us, I think it was a 1-year sponsorship on the spot. And that kind of settled us a bit financially because we were just starting out. We had not made any money. We had worked for like 6 months. We had not made any money. And then this came in. And then other segments and other sponsors started coming, and we had that. And, so it was another case of preparation meeting opportunity. I just felt that we could compare favorably with quality programs from any part of the world. That was my mindset. And that was our mindset. And I felt I was as good a presenter as anybody from anywhere. I felt Deji Omotoyinbo was as good an analyst as anybody I've seen anywhere. We didn't feel inferior to anybody. I say with all sense of humility. And 90 minutes was a blast. I still meet people on the road who tell me, when you're going to bring those things back. But it cost us a lot of money. You know, it cost us a lot of money, rights, production. Like I told you the other time, production cost us a ton. Some of the graphics we used for 90 minutes in 1999 are still being used for top quality programs today. So you can imagine we went the extra mile to really do that. And that really worked, and that launched us into what it was. The other things came basically from the radio show Sports Express. You know, we started Sports Express when Larry left Cool FM and went to start Brilla station in 2002. Chris Ubosi, who was running the station then, is our friend. He and Deji used to play football somewhere in Ikeja at that time. I knew him with Deji and all of that. He called us and said, "You guys, I want you, there's a certain quality I want for this show at this time. And I've seen your TV program, 90 minutes. Can you guys come and do a show for us, 15 minutes in the morning?" Before that time, the only radio done was on Larry's show, which I talked about earlier. That was 93. I'd come into TV. I was fully into TV. So again, we sat down and we decided we're going to sit down and fashion a show that was different. Personally, I felt one voice droning on for 15 minutes on radio. I felt no matter the quality that person was coming for, I felt it was aesthetically not well. I'm looking for the word to use. I felt it was boring to the air. I felt one voice droning on for 15 was boring to the air. So that's how we came up with the idea of segmenting the show. We'll do the news because international sports is very important. If there was anything to do with NBA, but it was there to do it. And then we'll do a segment on Nigerian football, and then we'll do a segment on international football. And I would do that, but they would do local football, and they would do international football. And it worked out because everybody had their specialties. And so when people like Tola, it got to a stage where, of course, we had to have shadow teams, so to speak, because we couldn't be there every time. It was a daily show. You go on holiday, you might fall sick, we were family men, you might have issues, you might need to go to your daughter or son's school. So we kept having these younger guys who were mentoring, who were coming on. And when Tola Badekale came on just like a shadow presenter. He was a producer, he would write the script, produce the show, but we also mentored him to be able to present anytime I wasn't there, which he did quite well as well. But Tola had a passion, he had a natural passion for tennis, you know? And, you know, we had this way of doing our tennis. I think the last time somebody said, I loved presenting tennis stories because I loved presenting tennis names. You know, they were distinct, they were special. And if you could showcase your ability as a top sportscaster by pronouncing those names properly. So somewhere down the line, somebody got interested in the fact that you guys are doing tennis so well and all of that. And we had Sterling Bank was the sponsor of Sports Express at that time. And Tola Badekale was a tennis. He was our go-to guy in the office, anything that happened to tennis. And Tola came up with these predictions and he was always right about tennis. So anytime there was a special story about tennis, I'll bring him on. And he became our tennis specialist. So somewhere down the line, I can't remember how it happened. We got a deal with Sterling Bank to be covering the Wimbledon. And for, I think, 4 or 5 years, Tola was the one that was going to cover that. So he would call us in the studio. We would talk about Wimbledon and all of that, live calls. But they would go for NBA. We just wanted we wanted a local show, but with a global feel.
Global, yeah.
And that was what I think we achieved. And there was a period at ITV I used to go and cover Premier League and Champions League matches. So I would become a reporter, report back to the studio and all of that. Anytime the G2 traveled to cover, to watch any game, watch any match. He was an administrator at some point, went for the Olympics here and there. He became a reporter and I would back. So, and Sports Express is 18 years in the making now. You know, when we started Sports in 2002, remember, we gave ourselves 2 quarters. The new program, we need time to gain traction and all of that. So we didn't expect to have a sponsor or any commercial activity for at least 2 months, maybe like till about May or June the following year. But what we have is 2 weeks after we started the show, we got a call from Echo, And from that time, I think in the 18 years, maybe cumulatively about a 2-year period cumulatively that we had that show. And most sports approached us by themselves. I say this with all sense of humility. And also, it's the only show I know of on radio, correct me if I'm wrong, that has seen all 4 major telecoms networks sponsor it at one point or the other. You know, we've had Econet, that was Airtel. We had Glow, we had Etisalat. Now we have MTN. At some point, it came back. First, I forgot the name of that. First, MTS first. You know, content in sports, quality of content is that name SportVision has made in the industry stems from just majorly 2 shows: 1 radio, 1 TV. 90 minutes on TV, Sports Express on radio. Those have been our, what they call our premium content that we have served up, and it's brought us to where we are today.
So, somehow you've segued into the. So for those who want to ask questions, please drop your questions. We'll start taking questions from 3 o'clock. So please drop your questions in the chat section so that we can take the question. So quickly, well, I've heard this story. Some people haven't heard it before. So your crazy broadcast memory, your first football memory from school. I think you've already said that one anyway. The victory against Methodist Boys High School. I think that was your first school. So you tell us your first football memory, regular football memory, either at a stadium or live on TV, and also your influences growing up.
Well, I hope you can hear me because I kind of lost your video.
Okay,
now.
So let me.
But you can still see me?
I can see you.
Okay, all right then. It's okay then. Because I can't see you guys now. My earliest influence or my first football experience, I grew up in Ibadan. And Liberty Stadium was the stadium that used to host the Green Eagles matches then. It was the premium prime station stadium. And I think my first football memory was the 2 I remember, a friendly between stationery stores and a Moroccan team. I'm not sure whether it was a friendly or a competitive game. And then there was a match between Nigeria and Morocco at that same stadium. It was in the days of, it was 1968. It was in the days of Peter Gene, Aneke, and all of that. Shegun Deji, so even before the eras of the Chukwus and the Odegbamis and even the Victors and all of that. But for that, my first, I said I grew up in the first person I saw presenting programs on TV was Uncle Fabio. Uncle Fabio Ladibeko was working at NTA Ibadan at the time, and you know he was somebody that we all loved and respected, and had this payoff line that I will never forget. He had this payoff line. Anytime that I finish the sports shows, he will say, now till next week, I'm back in sports all the way. How about you? That was his payoff line. He caught on. I loved it, and eventually was somebody I had the pleasure of doing 1 or 2 things with in later years. Of course, Yinka Craig was a mentor. Yinka Craig was somebody who mentored me greatly when I was at DBN. He had left sports for a while. When I left DBN, we worked on a couple of projects together. God rest his soul. Of course, I've mentioned Larry Zamoje, who I see as a friend and a mentor as well for the things he did for me. My former boss, Osa Sonny Adun, for the opportunity he gave me. And a host of other people at NTA when we started doing well. I can't forget AIT, Raymond Dr. C gave us a chance, gave us a break on the 90 minutes. We thank him for that. When we also, at AIT, then Mr. Barra Debi, who gave us our shot at that point, happened to be our senior in school. He gave us that break. Chris Ubose, of course, like I told you about, gave us a chance on radio. And a whole lot of other things. High TV was also a fantastic experience for us, putting the studio together. I think we did a very good job of it. So that's basically what it was.
It's good that you mentioned this, the ITV thing. Let's quickly talk about that experience. What kind of experience was it like, for you having to once again be part of somewhat a groundbreaking movement? Because we all know that, I guess, at the time, it was all DSTV. It was all DSTV. And then you had a Nigerian company come out of nowhere, taking on a giant, quote and unquote. What was that experience like, from in the background, to be part and parcel of that experience? What was it like?
Okay. Well, I need to correct that impression. A lot of people at that time, maybe because we were on TV personalities, a lot of people had the impression that SportVision had a stake in High TV. We did not. We were just content consultants, and we only just helped. What happened there was that the sports manager at High TV then, God bless his soul, Babatunde Ogutula, we called him Bogus. Bogus used to work for us at SportVision. Bogus was a member of our staff at SportVision. And Bogus now, was mandated with setting up the High TV sports department. Because he had worked with us, Bogus came to our office to say we should come and help them package the studio. That's the live broadcast of matches. They had their own staff, but of course they needed additional staff and all of that. And that's how that started. And again, I'm proud to say that I think the quality of the studio packaging in ITV, the studio setting, what we came up with, the content of our analysis and presentation, I think it was absolutely top notch. And then we took it a notch higher. I used to go and cover matches, do pitch side interviews from Premier League to Champions League and all of that. Those are things that had not been done before, which we were able to do. And but the business of sports content is very expensive, and you have to try and outbid. At some point, we were not involved in the management or the financial aspect of ITV at all. We were just content consultants. We helped them package content. 90 Minutes was on the channel. We helped them with some of their content into packaging it into programs, because programs are a value-added component of content. You can have rights to the Premier League, but from that Premier League rights you can fashion or spawn numerous programs, like you see the Premier League channel that everybody watches now. So at some point they had Premier League, they had Champions League, so that was what we did basically for High TV in that space. So that's what we did for them. We were just basically content consultants for the sports channels. So basically that's what we were. Not shareholders, we were not part owners in any shape or form. So so the High TV thing, I think, well, maybe the audience out there might judge us, might be able to judge us, but I felt we put some quality content together. I remember we met you, Yemi, when you came to do a groundbreaking, doing a groundbreaking, and we're looking for an analyst. At the end of that competition, it spawned so many, about 6 or 7 sports analysts who are all over the place today. And then the winner actually got a car. The young man that won the competition at the end actually got a car and all of that. So Chuba, who is still in the sports industry, I thank God for that. So we had fun, we did what we had to do. But one lesson to learn from all of this for me is the fact that content, I attend, there's a conference I attend in Las Vegas every April. Of course, couldn't attend this year for obvious purposes. It's an NAB show. Quite a lot of Nigerian TV radio stations, officials are there. They have this thing, they call it content is king. I think in the broadcast space, the quality of your content is king. Beyond quality, you must have to find consistency. Consistency takes dedication. I go to SportsVision has run for 18 years, will be 18 years in November. you know, from the time when we sadly lost Deji Omotoyinbo and we couldn't bring ourselves to run the show for about a week, that we took a break for about a week, we have never for one day missed a show. I've never for one day come to 7:30 or 7:45 when it was on Cool FM and say, the SportVision crew are not here, so the crew cannot run. Come rain, come shine, hell or high water, we produce the show till today. By the special grace of God, we thank God for good health to be able to do that. But that underlines the amount of dedication and discipline you need to be able to excel on this job, you know? So that's basically what it was.
Okay, so with respect to the ITV story, we'll go into the, you said you guys were part of the management setup, bids, and all that.
We're not part of the decision-making process. We're not part of the management setup.
So let me ask this. If, as I think we had a conversation about a month ago about the number of graduates that SportVision, has churned out within the sports broadcast industry, or even within the broadcast industry generally, because some have segued into other parts of broadcast. You said you have about 65 guys have come through the ranks, and this is not a proper school. It is just a company that's involved in content creation, in broadcasting, but has produced 65 individuals that have come through the ranks. What would you attribute the success of the SportVision conveyor belt to?
You have to repeat the question. What would I attribute to what?
What would you attribute the success of the SportVision conveyor belt to?
Oh, okay. Well, I have to say that up till tomorrow, you know that up till tomorrow, I'm sure we get a lot of approaches by young people. I think it's a case of listening to us and liking what we do. And then some of them are lucky to have contacts to approach us. But if I go back, there was a time Chris Obosi told us that we wanted to have a second team from Bode, myself, and Deji. We wanted to have a second team because, like I said, we could not always be available. And then, at the same time, this station, Wazobia FM, started. And Chris wanted us to put up a pidgin show on that station. So what we normally do when we want to hire people is we put out an announcement on our show and say, come for audition. So from that audition, we found a number of guys, Tolu Shotade, Godwin,
Jude,
Hakim Lawal, Femi, Jude, I've forgotten this naughty Demola. I've forgotten this naughty boy's name. This naughty big boy. I've forgotten his name now.
Nambi
Obaya, thank you. Found some of them that Joseph came in. Joseph was already in the industry. So Joseph joined us. I think he left Villa, he joined us. All of that. But when you join us, our standards are very high. The three of us, we do not suffer, we do not suffer fools gladly. Yeah. Because we came a long way, we set us a high standard. You had to adapt, you had to elevate yourself to that level, or you would not be able to cope with us. Imagine if you have to analyze football with somebody of the Tinubu's caliber. If you are not up to speed or up to scratch, you know what will probably happen to you. Imagine having to discuss basketball with somebody like Bode Oguchi, NBA, or his knowledge of local football, and somebody like me, I didn't see myself as an all-rounder, but I have a real deep knowledge of a wide range of sports. So when you come into that space, you had to adapt to us. And especially somebody like maybe the toughest, I don't want to use the word slave driver, because that's not the toughest taskmaster out of the three of us was Deji Omotoyinbo. Deji would listen to these guys, Deji would drill them, Deji would harass them. If they got something wrong, I would correct them. I was very angry when you didn't write your scripts well, but they would also get on your case. So you had to shape up or ship out. It was as simple as that. So, and we also inculcated the proper values in them. The proper values, how do I mean the proper values? Proper values of your integrity is your biggest currency in this industry. The moment you compromise your integrity for filthy lucre, you've lost it. So, and I'm very glad that most of them have moved on from us, gone to other places that they've maintained that standard and they're great ambassadors of what I would call, quote and unquote, the SportVision school. If I can use that, word, that phrase.
I think it was when I had Uncle Bode on this segment, on this show. I told him that it's imperative. I think I also discussed it with you that you have some form of a reunion. You know, maybe at maybe 20th anniversary of Sports Express or something. Hopefully. We have some kind of reunion. You know, to have all these guys together, we can just talk and compare. Compare notes.
It's a brilliant idea.
What would you say? What would you say has changed in the industry from once you started to now? What particularly can you point to that say, oh, this is one major change that's happened in the industry?
I'll mention two. When I joined DBN, I think it was DBN and Clapper Boy. They were the only private stations in the country. Channels came later. AIT came later, like 90, if I'm not mistaken, like 98, 99, thereabouts, or 97, 98, 97, 98. That was when I think the others came. And at that point in time, I cannot recall whether that there was a private radio station. I can't recall. I may be wrong, but I can't recall there was a private radio station. So, but in the 21, 22, 23 years since then, you can see the proliferation of stations, both TV, both radio, both online. So there's been it's like the numbers has grown in leaps and bounds, and so the opportunities are more, the platforms are more, but that for me, unfortunately, has also led to a drop in standards.
Yeah, drop in the quality.
But secondly, I would say, on the quality overall. Secondly, I'll say digital space, digital media. It has changed the whole spectrum of anything about sports. Every one of us, we're actually broadcasting now. We're putting up a program, a show for people to watch. Anybody now, you can have your own YouTube channel. You can have your own online podcast. You can have practically anything. So that has led to content being so diversified. It's like a disruption in the broadcast space. New media has come in and has disrupted the place, and you really have to adapt or die practically quickly. So those are the major changes that I've seen. The digital disruption, if I'll say that, and the proliferation of the number of stations and the number of platforms and the opportunities that are there for younger people who want to get into this job.
Okay. For those who didn't watch the previous broadcast that we had issue with, when he says that they ensured that they provided the right guidance, I will tell you one thing. I've been doing Sports Express since 2012, so this is 8 years now. I've only beaten them to the studio once. And I'm saying, Uncle Deji and Uncle Bode, I've only beaten them to the studio once. So that shows you their dedication to the entire course, to the entire program to, mentor us accordingly in the right direction. Brian, I will ask questions soon. Please, if you have questions, send me your questions. I will start taking questions soon. Ongeji, when I spoke to Uncle Bode, he spoke about a period where SportVision had some financial challenges, where it was tough to run the business. What would you attribute to the fact that is making you guys still remain on solid ground and still relevant till we speak? Aside integrity, aside the quality of the content, because I can imagine that you must have gotten a lot of flack, you must have had a lot of second doubts, you have a lot of doubts about yourself, your ability in the business. What kept you guys going? That look, we will make this work.
That's why I tell people who come to me, some younger people who come to me to say, I want to do this and all that. I always tell them, if your motivation is money, you're in the wrong place. If your motivation is money, you're in the wrong place. Your motivation has to be a passion and a love for the job. We've taken some really, really major financial hits that I don't know whether anybody told you some of them, but we didn't even tell anybody. We just moved on from it. And then our relationship, we've had fights. We've had periods where we fell out with each other, not break up, but fell out and got, all in the space of trying to build the business. Because our motivation was, we just wanted to do this job. Deji came back from England. He was not doing badly in England. And I remember when he came back, some of his friends were like, is something wrong with you? I left an oil industry job, but they also left the job to join DBN, to join SportVision at the time when we had no money. But I think the three of us had a vision about quality content. That's one. Two, when you're going through, I've learned one thing in my life, that the point where you're supposed to be the calmest is when you're in a storm. We've had some real financial storms. And all of us are family men. So it doesn't affect only you, it affects your wife, it affects your children. So we've had some but what kept us going was the fact that we always felt we would pull through because we knew we had quality. We knew we had integrity. We knew we had ability to churn out good content and even do things in other areas. We knew we had quality. I'll tell you two instances. In 2002, we came up with this idea to have a highlight show for the World Cup. We called it Orient Express. It was the first time in Nigeria's football history, in Nigeria's sporting TV history, that a TV show will be syndicated live to about 7 or 8 other stations. The show was aired from MITV, not MITV, Minaj TV.
Minaj.
And then it was syndicated to the channels, had it, about 6 or 7 other stations had it. And we had sponsors, we had MTN, we had Pepsi, I can't remember the third sponsor. We'd done our homework, we had our finances lined up. We knew this was going to cost us X amount, we're going to make this amount. And it was going to be clear profit. Lo and behold, you know how the media works in Nigeria. MTN were our biggest sponsors to the tune of, I think, 70%, or probably even 75% of our income. The day England and Nigeria drew, that game, famous game that was a Yaman's game, and Nigeria got knocked out. The World Cup was like maybe 30% gone. That day, our biggest sponsor pulled out. And what was a profit on paper became a loss in the space of 24 hours. And To put that show on, we had gone to the bank to borrow money.
Mm.
You worked in the bank, you know how banks are, where you owe them money.
Some of them are here, some of them are listening. Some of them are listening.
You know, I tell you that we paid that money back at the point of pay. For 2 years, we had to pay the money. But luckily, like I also say, how would we pull through? When we ran into that debt, we didn't know where we were going to pay that money from. 2 months later, after the World Cup, Chris calls us. A few months later, Chris Obusi calls us and says, that was 2002. We have this radio show for you guys to do. Come and do. I told you about it earlier. We got into the studio, we put Sports Express together. We got a sponsor. The first 2 years of Sports Express, our sponsorship money, because we had to pay the bank, we had to go and sit with the management, the sponsorship team of Econet. We brought the bank and told them, look, this sponsorship figure, domicile the money to the bank because we have to pay them their debt. So Econet was paying the money to the bank. The bank was taking the money from there, and they were giving us running costs to run the business. That was what we did with the first 2 years of sponsorship of that show. We did it. We paid the money back. We thank God, and the bank was happy. We were happy. But I tell you, those are the kind of things we could have tried to get away from. You know, I'm sorry, a lot of people in Nigeria don't want to pay bank debt. We could have tried to wangle our way, you know, Brabozo, running to get a lawyer, do that. But we decided, look, in future, we don't know where this thing is going to crop up. We need to pay this money. Thankfully, we were able to pay it. Sometime in, a lot of people don't know this particular one, but some people have said, you guys should have done this, should have done that. We had plans, but at times things happen. Sometime we had a studio that we had invested. We were going to start Sport Plus on the High TV platform. Sport Plus was supposed to be a 24-hour sports news platform that focused on Nigerian and African sports news and also content and all of that. We couldn't afford to go into the rights market, so we're going to do news and programs, not live broadcast, but we felt we could grow it to the point and all of that. And again, we invested, but there is our finance person, but I'm sure we invested close to 25 million on that project. You know what happened? We paid for a foreign company to do our skits. We did everything. We imported studios, studio paraphernalia. We had sets, about 4 or 5 various sets of various programs, and all of that. And you know, that studio, till tomorrow, I believe it was sabotaged. That studio got burnt to the ground. Completely razed. It was like 5 years of work, 5 years of sweat down the drain. Now, look, we were looking at ourselves and like, maybe we should have put this money in our pocket. So can you imagine, you know? But all we were doing was trying to make money to invest. So you take some of those hits, and there's some smaller ones. There's some breakthroughs as well. There are things that you do and all of that. But in all of it, you have to know that when the storm comes, if you are not here for real reasons, if you are not here for altruistic reasons, if you are here for what you can make, you run. I've had job offers. I've had job offers in England. I've had job offers in America. I've had job offers in Nigeria to come and be PR manager or sponsorship manager and all of that. It's not what I wanted to do. And these are fantastic job offers. Look at where the world is today. Even those that felt they were, I'm not trying to put anybody down, but people that were like comfortable just 2 months ago, just February, March, were on easy streets. They're struggling. Yeah. So you never know what's around the corner. Just do your bit, focus on what you need to do, and somehow you will get by. While I would not say SportVision is obviously in financial terms not the richest company you find around, but I think in terms of reputation, in terms of integrity, in terms of, with all due, I say it with all sense of humility, in terms of international respect we command, you cannot quantify what we have. You cannot quantify what we have. And, you know, I feel proud when I see some of our guys who will tell you, you know, the moment I went to do this interview and people were saying they don't know me. And the moment I said I worked at SportVision, they said, no, if you worked at SportVision, then you are hired. I've heard that story. I'm not joking, like 70 times. People who were probably, they didn't know them, they now say, what's your job experience? The moment they mention SportVision, it's like, okay, no problem. I don't even need to interview you. If you work with the Dejis and Bode, you're good to go. You know, so there's some things money cannot quantify. And at the end of the day, with all due respect, I mean, I won't say I'm a rich man, but I've lived decently. We have lived decent lives. We have been able to take decent care of our families. We're able to get by decently. So it depends on what you're looking for. But somebody gave me a saying. He said, let your name be an asset. Whether your personal name or your company name, let your name be an asset. At some point, that asset will turn to money. We are still waiting, but we hope it will happen. We hope it will happen.
Okay, let me quickly take questions before they have my head, because they're already sending messages.
Okay.
First question comes from Mitch Madrogu. He says, trying to relate with the current situation, what is the greatest challenge to live match broadcasts of the MPFL in Nigeria? And what can he advise the LMC on how to best resolve these challenges?
The biggest challenge to live broadcast is cost. The biggest challenge is cost. And, you know, I'm not one of the people that I criticize the MPFL or the LMC, but I honestly understand the situation they are in when it comes to live broadcasts. Live broadcasts are expensive. They are expensive. You know, on the average, if you're going to hire an OB van for the little I know about 2-3 years ago when I was working on one project, it cost like 7-8 million naira for a day. You know, and it's tough to find that money. You know, sponsorship monies are dwindling because so many people are looking for the same funds. So it's tough to find the money. I honestly feel the way LMC should go, I don't know what's happened to the next TV deal that they said they have. I honestly feel the way they need to go is this live streaming. I honestly feel that's the way to go.
When you say you don't,
yeah.
You know, there's also a bit of a reputational issue with that. You know, there was a time the NFF went through via that angle. Those times the Super Eagles played some matches maybe in England, and they told us that okay, they had a partner to run live stream. People actually paid for that service, and they probably never got their money back.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to that. There has to be integrity, there has to be transparency. One of the biggest issues we have in Nigerian football or Nigerian sports is those two issues, integrity and transparency. I often wonder why we cannot come out and let people know the figures, the sponsorship figures for anything. I've always wondered why those things are shrouded in secrecy. You know, and then even when those things are not shrouded, when they say a sponsor is paying 10 naira, why can't you come out and say this is how this money would cascade down to the bottom of the ladder? This is what each team will get. This is what, because it is that transparency that attracts even more sponsorship.
Exactly.
There's some sponsors that won't touch you if they don't know how you are spending their funds. I remember back in the day when I was at DBN, and Mobile used to, we used to have this Mobile track and field.
Yeah.
You know, Mobile used to sponsor that. If I remember correctly, there was at a point, Mobile decided they will be paying the athletes directly. You know, because the monies were not getting to the athletes. And they did that for some time. At some point, I think Mobile got tired. They pulled out. Because who wants the stress? And if anything goes wrong, it might have a negative impact or a boomerang effect on your brand negatively. So for live broadcast, it's very expensive. I do not see a realistic way where it can be done in the classic broadcast form. But I think the streaming angle, it can be done. And let me tell you the difference. If you put a format, for instance, on Super, it is restricted to the African continent. It is only subscribers who are Africa-based that can show it. If it is on a streaming service, it doesn't have boundaries. If I leave Nigeria and I go and move to Peru and I'm living there, I can stream, and maybe it's a subscription service. I can pay. So, like somebody will say, why don't you Netflix your matches?
Yeah.
If I can use that brand. Netflix your matches, look for a way to do it. It may start small, but the numbers you can get, imagine if you have that, imagine if an MPFL channel that shows maybe 2 matches every match day has 1 million subscribers. Don't even say 1 million. Start with 100,000 subscribers paying maybe 500 a month for starters. You know, and the service is good, it's clean, and then you also do additional programming. Like I said earlier, value-added content. You put it there.
Highlights, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Highlights, you know, player interviews, do things like that, player trainings. Now, why don't we do pre-match and post-match interviews and all of that? We also need to be conversant or be particular about. A lot of sponsors in Nigeria feel they are shortchanged when they sponsor things because they never get commensurate value for their dollar. That's also something we need to take care of, we need to think about. So the answer to the question is that it's going to be difficult to do it in the classic way. They have to think out of the box. They have to be creative. But I do not see how that league would grow to the level it's grow to if you don't find a way of putting it on TV or some kind of streaming device where people can watch it. It's going to be very difficult to grow it beyond this present level.
Okay, so Henry Ashedu says, why did it take SportVision so long to have a digital presence?
Well,
we've tried a couple of times.
No. Let me. There was something we were going to. I told you about the station we were going to have. I told you about some of the things we were going to do, but we were going to start something huge online sometime. Then Deji got appointed as chairman Lagos State Sports Commission, so that kind of derailed that a little bit. But the biggest hit to our plans, honestly, was when Deji Tinubu passed. I think that incident probably set us back in the things we're trying to do, probably set us back maybe 2-3 years. I don't think we've fully gotten over it. You know, you can say it's not a case of one man being the first, but it's a case of our plans are so intertwined in so many things. Yeah. And that, you know, some of the plans, Jamie, and that was a huge setback because there were things I was handling, there were things I was handling, there were insurance issues and all of that, you know, we were so devastated that before to pick up from where we left off was really very tough because at that time, it was about coming out to focus fully, to do certain things fully. It was about coming back from government to return to SportVision when it passed. So, but having said that also, the digital space is, for me, inundated now. Again, you have to have the certain level of quality you need. You know, Yemi, we don't do half measures. You know, we try not to do half measures. If we're going to do something, is that we do it at this level, or we don't do it at all?
We don't do it at all.
But that might be a criticism. You might feel, or we don't do it at all. You might feel that's an excuse or that's a criticism, but that's just the way I am wired. Is either we do it at that level or do it at all. But there are things in the offering. Earlier today, Yemi, we did Sport Impact Africa, a series we're starting online, which some of you might have listened to. There are things we're planning, there are things we're starting. But we also like to plan very well and adequately. You know about Sport Impact Africa, Yemi, you know the amount of meetings we have had. to get into this stage. You know, a couple of trips that some of us have taken outside of this country just to get that thing to where it is, and we're just starting. So I hope that answers the question. We had plans, but a number of things derailed our plans, but you have to just get back on track and see what you can do.
Okay, Brian Okomowo says, I hope I didn't murder your name though. How do you compare the DBN time to now? A lot of young people are now involved in sportainment. Are the younger guys better than the days of yore?
Well, I will leave the answer to the last part of the question for the audience to decide. The audience will decide who is better. But I also I'm involved in a lot of trainings and all of that. What I always tell the younger people, and if there's one criticism I have of the younger people, is there's always a rush to go on air. There's always a rush to become a presenter. There's always a rush to be seen. And, you know, so when you have a crowded space like we have, you really, I tell the guys I train, you really have to do something special to stand out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll be drowned in the cacophony of voices all over. Everybody can sit in front of a camera and use his phone and produce a show and put it on air. What stands you out? That's the key. Because, you know, I always say this about programs, about news, about, for instance, the German matches, the Bundesliga matches that we play today, all of us will probably watch as many matches as we can. So what makes you want to come and listen to Adeyemi Adesanya on a Monday morning to tell you about the match you have watched? It's because Yemi gives you something extra or something. There's analysis that Yemi will give you or Deji will give you, but they will tell you that gives you a further insight into how the match went the way it went. It's analysis. So if you're just going to come out and say, oh, Arsenal defeated Manchester United, we all saw that. We all know the goal scorers. What extra are you giving me? What are you telling me? Because if that's all you're coming to tell me, the real results and all of that, a lot of us are sports buffs. We already know. So what is that extra thing you're bringing out? What stands you out? And that's what I would like the young people to try and focus about. Because anybody can be a presenter. What is your unique ability? What's your unique selling point? What stands you out? And what's your niche? You carve a niche for yourself. What's the area where everybody knows you as a specialist? Everybody knows you are. If you need something from this area, you go to this guy. You were talking about Tola and tennis the other time. You must stand out. There are lots of young guys now who are following the local league, which I'm very happy about. But, you know, they are following the local league now. But people like Bode Oguchi followed the local league when it was not even on TV, when it was unfashionable to follow the local league, when it was stoned and nearly killed in, I think it was Gombe.
In Gombe.
Follow the local league. So, exactly. So, what stands you out? What's your unique selling point? You must have something extra. Otherwise, why should I come and listen to you or watch you?
He's asking, St. Brian is asking, what's the biggest challenge you've had since you joined this industry? And what is your next milestone?
Biggest challenge has been the weight of expectations from people. A lot of, when you are on TV, when you are heard on radio, a lot of people feel you have a ton of money stashed away somewhere. When people approach you, they need this, they need that, and you cannot help out, they feel you're selfish. They feel you are what's that thing they call people who don't, you feel you don't want to.
Akagom.
You're akagom. They feel, but it's tough.
I'm sure you can hear that.
It's a tough space. There are times you don't have sponsors. There are times you have sponsors. Sponsorship monies don't come in on time. We've had a situation where we had to go to the courts for 2 years to get a sponsorship money paid. I've told you about sponsors pulling out unexpectedly now. So there are lots of challenges that we face. The challenges are majorly financial, but you win some, you lose some. That's where it goes. Just go with the flow.
Okay, what's your next milestone?
Milestone. Sport Impact Africa is something we're working on.
Yeah.
We're developing it. It's a sports business initiative, which we have launched today with that session I had with the ladies. And as the year evolves, as the days evolve, we'll unveil more and more. But in short, what it is it tries to elevate the business structures. It's a Pan-African collaborative effort. It tries to elevate. We had a Ghanaian lady on our session today. We have a session in 2 weeks' time in Zambia. Zimbabwe will be there. Another one in Kenya will be there. It's a Pan-African initiative trying to reorganize and re-energize the architectural and the structural defects in sports across Africa. Like it could be on a consultancy basis, educational, networking events, a whole spectrum of things that we feel will impact, I believe will impact the African space majorly. We could dovetail into an academy where you could go and learn, go to school to learn various aspects of the sports business. So basically that's what it is in a nutshell. But as the months come by, we'll be unveiling more and more of that. Just market, Sport Impact Africa is the next milestone. We are working on a couple of things as well in terms of media, but I don't want to divulge too much about that. But I think between now and the end of the year, you'll find out more about a couple of these things that we're trying to do.
All right. So, Oluseyi Akindele, Dr. Oluseyi says, what stands you out?
What stands me out? I think that's for the audience to decide. But what I can say, what I can say is I'm dedicated to my craft. Yemi knows me. I am a perfectionist when it comes to packaging programs, radio or TV. I do not go on air unprepared. I never do. If I have a script, I go through my scripts at least 3 or 4 or 5 times, as many times as possible before I go on air. If I am going to go on air as a presenter, there's a different mindset if you're a presenter to when you're an analyst. Bottom line, I do not go on air unprepared. I go on air 120% ready. So, and I think that's why I don't think you can ever say there's a situation where I'm found wanting on air, because I don't go into that space without adequate preparation. I'm fully prepared. For Sports Express, like Yemi said, I get to the studio at 5:30 latest in the morning for a 7:30 show. So it takes me 2 hours to prepare fully for a 15-minute show. And when we were doing 90 minutes was a 90-minute show, we start producing 90 minutes from Friday evening, Saturday morning. And I enter the studio to edit our clips and all of that on Monday morning, and it takes at least 8 hours to put those things together for a 1.5 hour show. So effectively, I prepare for 3 days to go on air for 1.5 hours. So if that's what stands me out, I think I can live with that. I do not go on air unprepared. I don't just go on air and feel, hey, I know it all. I prepare fully. I do my research. I do what I need to do. I write and rewrite my scripts. I rehearse my scripts. I don't toy with my lines. And I make sure I have quality analysts with me. I don't just bring anybody on air with me. The people, if I do not know the quality you come with as an analyst, I won't go on air with you, because you're as good as the analysts that you have on your show. If you bring up a poor analyst and he's talking rubbish, it reflects badly on you. So let me leave it like that. I am 100%, 120% prepared anytime I go on air. So I guess that's what stands me out.
Many people don't know that Uncle Deji's writing looks like a doctor's writing. So no other person can read his script. You can hear how much work goes into preparing for this thing. So when you criticize me about my team of the week, know how much work goes into preparing that team of the week. She is also asking, you said, is advertising the only source of revenue in sports content production?
Well, it's the major source. it's a major source. You have a show on radio, on TV, a sponsor picks it up, they pay the bill. So it's the major source. Once in a while, you might use that platform to spin events. You understand? For instance, you might use Sports Express to popularize or promote an event that that can make you residual income or other sources of income.
Yeah.
But advertising income, when it comes to content, advertising income is like 90% of it. Most of the other things are residual. Maybe you know Yemi and you say, okay, we want to do something on football. Let's go and meet Yemi. Yemi can be a consultant and all that. So Yemi can make some residual income because it enhances people's perception of you as an expert in your field, and they can come meet you and you can make some other. It's like some of these presenters who are also MCs at events. The platform promotes you, promotes your brand. I can do other things with it. But when it comes to the programming, advertising revenue is basically the major sponsor, the major income for content on radio.
And I think also, Sheyi, you need to know that because we live in a country where people don't buy content, so the purchase of the content should be another source of revenue. But unfortunately, in Nigeria, we don't buy content. So instead, you pay to put your content on.
Mention that. You know why I didn't mention that exactly? You know, I didn't mention that we have a warped understanding of content here. You want to, but we have got to the stage where I do not pay for, we as a company, we don't pay for airtime. Anywhere you see our show, we don't pay for airtime. We have an income sharing agreement. And I think we have, with all due respect and all sense of courtesy, we have grown to the level where we can do that. But you have a station that has zero quality content at a particular time of the day. And maybe they are running musicals or they are showing local dramas that nobody is paying for. And you go there and you say, I have this content for you. And by the time they tell you the amount of money you will pay to enhance the station, it doesn't make any sense. That's why majorly we moved away from doing TV. Because you will pay for rights, you pay for production. Then somebody tells you to come and pay for airtime as well. Airtime that they are burning with zero content.
With glee.
Exactly, they are with glee. You know, so we don't have a, that's why I didn't bother. You could also, of course, advertising content in some senior clients, you can do a lot of marketing of your content. People can buy your content and all that. But here we are in Nigeria, that hardly happens. At least in sports, it hardly happens.
Okay, so Brian also says, I see how demanding this job is. How you do this under 15 minutes with your crew. Has this job affected your family life?
Well, I have a proper balance. It has not affected my family life in the sense that I still manage to spend a lot of time with my family. Weekends, beyond, I don't go out on weekends, except I have a function that I cannot avoid going to. Maybe it's a close family or close friend. I spend my weekends entirely at home, even before the lockdown. And I watch matches, I stay at home, I spend time with my family. Before I got married, one of the reasons I moved into the business side of sports from being employed was because I knew that if you are employed as a broadcaster in a station, I still it affect people, and I didn't want that to happen to me. Paid employment. I wanted to be the boss of my own time because I needed to devote more time to my family. So I have to say, I've been married over 20 years now. My wife has been very supportive. I have 3 lovely kids. I don't think this has affected my family life in any way. I've managed to strike a balance, and I think I've managed to spend quite a lot of additional and decent time with my family, and that has helped me a lot.
Okay, Jeffrey. Jeffrey's with us all the way from Canada, by the way. Jeffrey says, how did you feel when members or presenters or those related or linked with SportVision in one way or another started getting recognized for political appointments in Tinubu, God bless his soul, and Fela Bankole comes to mind.
Well, it's a plus for us. I mean, I see it as a plus. I see it as maybe an affirmation of that, the fact that we did things at a certain level. We did things at a certain level of, how do I put it, competence that was recognized. And because those guys would not have been appointed if they came across as incompetent. Or another person that has been associated with us, who are very proud to represent, Shola Ipe, who is now also in charge of sports in Lagos State. There are one or two others. So I see it as an affirmation of the quality and the competence we brought to the table over the years. So I'm very proud of those things. It's, for me, at times, it's tough to balance it. And you know the situation with Deji. When Deji went into NFF, I sat him down, and I told him, anytime we're discussing anything to do with Nigerian football, you are not allowed to talk. Because you are going to talk from a position of bias. He didn't like it, but he understood it and he complied.
And he got the biggest flag on Sports Express.
Exactly. So anytime he had issues, maybe issues with NFF and all of that, when he was there, he knew he did not have a say in the conversation. And he knew, because I think there was a time some of his members were like, why are your guys always attacked? He told them, I have no influence over those guys. I have absolutely no control over what they say. So please, leave me out of it. And it worked. It worked for us. I know that those days, Joseph Faulkner used to be very, 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 very scathing in his criticism on NFF. And some people were telling him that, why are you bashing NFF? Your boss is there. I said, my boss is my boss. My job is my job. You know, so that's what it is. We drew the lines and we made sure those lines didn't cross.
Sheyi, why did you have to go here now? Why? Okay. Dr. Oluseyi Akindele is asking, finally, what do you think, in your opinion, should happen to the EPL season?
Well,
he's a Liverpool fan, by the way.
Okay, to all intents and purposes, for me, they have to find a way to finish the season, which is what they're doing. If your question is if Liverpool should be handed the title if the season is not finished, my answer would be, even though Liverpool is almost there, it's obvious they will win it. My answer would be no, because it has ramifications down the table.
Yeah.
Liverpool is 25 points clear, fine. But United are 3 points behind Chelsea. Aston Villa are in a relegation spot now, but they have a game in hand. If they win that game in hand, they jump out of that relegation spot. So how do you decide all the other things?
Where's the balance? Yeah.
Where's the balance? And I always use this as an example. Let's say you were all in a stadium and we're watching a 100 meters race. And there's this man in front who is like 50 meters ahead of the rest. And just before he breaks the tape, the whole stadium goes into darkness. The whole stadium goes into darkness. How are you going to hand him the gold medal? I want to believe that, to be fair, I think the season will end because I think there is a commitment, there is a determination to finish the season. I think the season will end. I think Liverpool would be deservedly crowned champions. I think maybe one or two skirmishes might happen, one or two issues might crop up, but I think the season will end. I think Liverpool will win their title. So, Doctor, you're safe. Don't worry.
And already, some people are saying, hey, see Liverpool fan. I think they should just cancel the season, sir. League must be cancelled, the EPL alone. It should be cancelled. The health of players must be of paramount importance in this decision.
You see, you have to also let's balance this. I understand the sales issue, but even these countries that are trying to open up and get to play, they also realize the economic and financial implications. There are jobs on the line. if you void the Premier League season and some of these big leagues and you say, come back in September, I can bet you some of these lower clubs will not be existing by September.
Yeah, true.
They will have gone under. Even it's tough enough to have preseason paid behind closed doors. You know, for some of the lower leagues, Jeremy, paying behind closed doors is more expensive for them.
Yeah.
Because they
generate the same
money
thing they run.
Yeah, it's the money they generate that they run. Even teams like Manchester United, as Manchester United's turnover on every match is £4 million. That's a lot of money in the bank. So, and their jobs cascading down the line. So I think, especially for a place like England, for a place like Spain, La Liga contributes 1.4% to the GDP and employs 200,000 people. So they can't afford for this industry itself to go down. And if the season is not completed, especially in England, in Germany, in Spain, in Italy, the cascade effect on the economies of those countries will be unquantifiable. So I think everybody has realized that, and they're doing everything they can, even at the government level, to make sure that the leagues end, and they can, even behind closed doors, they will still take a little bit of a hit, but it will not have the devastating effect it will have on the industry that if the season is cancelled. God forbid there's another spike. God forbid there's another major. God forbid maybe a major player dying from COVID or something like that. God forbid all of that. But it's a tough balancing act. There's a health aspect. There's also the economic aspect. Look at countries like the US, as comfortable as they are. A lot of people are like, look, we have to get the economy going somewhere, somehow. Otherwise, the implications and the ripple effect will be devastating. And they're trying to find a way around those things. I think that's what football is also trying to do.
Okay, we're rounding up. Brian says, without fans, will we enjoy sports again? Also, Deji doesn't talk about, you don't talk about WWE.
Well, for me, it's sports entertainment. It's not sports news. It's not. Yeah, that's the way I see it. It's not sports news. It's sports entertainment. That's the way I see it. It's not regular sports news. It's exciting. It's like, if I have a TV channel, for instance, if I run a TV channel, I'll put the content there because it's exciting content. But I don't think it's news. And I think for 15 minutes, there are enough, quote and unquote, real sports stories to put out there that I don't think by the time you do tennis, you do boxing, you do basketball, before you get to WWE, I mean, I don't think that, and I don't really think there's anybody who does WWE as sports news like that.
Yeah.
I really don't think, I may be wrong, I really don't think, even the major networks, Sky Sports, CNN, I don't think they do it like that as sports news. This is the new WWE champion and all of that. I doubt that very much.
Okay, Michael Adegbile says, sir, as an individual sports content creator / brand, is one allowed to record MPFL games to post or to post it, games to post, or it violates the supposed TV rights the LMC has with Next TV?
Whatever you're going to do with their footage, you have to take permission from them.
From them, yeah.
You can't just go to a stadium, take your camera.
Put your camera.
You cannot. You have to take permission from them, from the MPFL or maybe the LMC, or if they have a marketing company that is handling their rights and all of that. You have to take permission from them. But I think the way we are, what they can do is maybe Next TV, because I do not know what the capacity is to cover all the stadia. I think maybe what they can do is license some smaller producers across all the various centers to record and produce content for them. You know, and then they can use on their network and give credit to those guys and maybe allow the guys some leeway to use one or two things. And they can have an arrangement where, okay, we won't pay you. You can use a bit of our footage. You help us record. And, they can have a kind of, they have to be very crazy. They have to think outside of the box. But they have to find a way to get that league on TV or on the streaming service as soon as possible.
Any regrets?
Not. If I had to do it all over again, I think I'll do probably. The only regret I might have is that I should have started this job like 5 or 7 years earlier than I did.
Oh, okay. Okay, now, if I ask you.
I started in 93. I could have started like 87 immediately I left. I finished youth corps.
Oh. Okay, so if I ask you, looking back now in the history of SportsVision, as we round up, is there any decision you look back on today and say, no, we shouldn't have done that? Is there anyone that you look back today and say, yes, thank God we took this decision. Thank God we made this move?
Well, I really can't think of anything where I can say maybe we shouldn't have done this, because apart from that setback I told you about concerning the studio, which was, well, it was beyond what we did then was what we needed to do. We needed to move from being content suppliers on other networks to having our own station producing our own content. That's what we were trying to do before we had the accident that derailed those plans, and the financial hit that came with that. It's taking a bit of time for us to recover. So I would not say I would have done that differently. I would have still done the same thing. You know, you could have thought that maybe I should have used this money, but even if you use the money, you would have spent the money by now anyway. So the money, you would have spent the money by now anyway. Or you'd have said maybe we should have pocketed this money, share the money among ourselves, have a good time with our families, or buy cars or things like that. But hey, you're in business to invest and reinvest. What was the second part of the question?
Is that which one do you look back on and say, yes, thank God we took this decision. Thank God we made this move.
Well, the moment we decided, I think I was a bit skeptical about doing Sports Express, I must admit. But I'm glad I did. Yes, I was a bit skeptical.
You're skeptical about radio, about doing radio?
I was skeptical about doing radio. Yes, I'd done TV and all of that. But I'm glad I did not, I overcame my skepticism. I didn't have doubts. I was just worried about the pressure of having to do a show on a daily basis. You know, because you have to strike a balance. You also have to find some. For instance, I told you about my weekends. I try to rest. People say, yeah, it's possible you say you rest on weekends. Once in a while, I attend some sporting events, but it's not usual. Maybe most of the time when I travel out of the country, so I attend some sporting events. But there was a time the station approached us and said, you should come and do a Saturday morning show for them. And all of that. And I sat my guys and I told them, and first of all of them were excited, but let's do that. I told them, we can't do this. And this was my reason for saying we can't do this. We are on Sports Express Monday to Friday. The three of us are Christians. We go to church Sundays. What day of the week are we going to relax in the morning, sleep till 8 or 9, and unwind and spend time with our families? It was only Saturday. So if we say because we want to make some money and put, that means Monday to Sunday, we are not resting. It's not healthy. And we thanked the station. We told them we couldn't do a Saturday morning show. And that was why we left it. There was money on the table, but we have to think of the long-term implication on our families and on our health as well. If you're not ready to do that, if you think only of the money, God help you, it might have a damaging effect on your health in the long run.
So work-life balance, check.
Yeah.
All right, so let's round up with this. I want your all-time Manchester United 11. Deji Omotoyinbo is a Manchester United fan, by the way. And your all-time Super Eagles 11. And please, I beg you, don't do Jojoro, Uncle Bode, and Mulalao did to me. Please.
To you.
They did Ojoro. Both of them. Uncle Bode and Uncle Mumuni, they did Ojoro. I'm not going to tell you the Ojoro they did so that you don't use it for me.
Man, you all-time 11. Well, you know, some of you, for those of us who lived in a different generation, you might hear some names that you do not understand or you don't know about. You have to bear us out. Goal will be Peter Schmeichel. without a shadow of a doubt. For what he brought to the table, what he did at United. Right back would be Gary Neville, because Gary had, the way he bombed down the fly, he had issues, but he was the first Man U defender that really, really bombed the flanks, like they said. I had a good understanding with David Beckham down the right. And for his tenacity, and he was a leader on and off the pitch. I'll pick him. For left back, I'll go for Dennis Irwin. Because Dennis Irwin did everything with ease.
Yeah.
He tackled with ease. He moved forward with ease. He scored with ease. He never looked ruffled at any time. So I will do that. Central defense will be Nemanja Vidic and Jaap Stam. Those will be my two. I never really thought of this before, so I'm just thinking of it as I go. So it will be those two. So we need 4 more players, do we? No, sorry.
No.
We need
What formation are you playing?
Sorry. I'm playing a classic 4-4-2.
4-4-2, okay.
4-4-2.
Midfield.
So I have my back 4.
Yeah.
Midfield, I think the best central midfield pairing United has had was Roy Keane and Paul Scholes. I think they dovetailed.
Hello, Deji. Okay, all right, you're back.
Yes. So
Hello?
I will put Cantona. Yeah. No, I will put Cantona. Where am I?
Yeah. You stopped at
Where am I?
Keane and Scholes. Keane and Scholes.
Okay, I said Keane and Scholes, and I added the right and the left, the guys that won the treble. I added Beckham and Giggs to that.
Okay. Beckham and Giggs?
And then I said the 2 up front, Beckham and Giggs, yes. The 2 up front will be Eric Cantona and Ruud van Nistelrooy.
No Cristiano Ronaldo?
No.
Interesting. Okay. Quickly, Super Eagles. Because we need to round up. We need to finish up. Super Eagles 11.
Super Eagles. My goalkeeper will be Vincent Nyama.
Wow.
Again, yeah, I will go back to some old players. My goalkeeper will be Vincent Nyama.
Your right back is going to be interesting.
My right back. A lot of you won't know it. My right back.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's going to be interesting.
My right back is Tony Igwe. My left back is Yisa Shofolue.
Okay.
My left back is Yisa Shofolue.
Yeah, new style defense.
My left back is Yisa Shofolue. Yes. My central defense, without a shadow of a doubt, is Christian Chukwu and Uche Okechukwu.
That's a surprise.
Yes. But this is where the surprise is. Stephen Keshi is my defensive midfielder.
Oh.
A lot of people don't know that's where he started. From for the Super Eagles and was brilliant at it. So I'll put Stephen Keshi, I'll put Muda Lawal as my enforcers in midfield.
Yeah.
I'm looking for how many more.
What formation are you playing? Sorry.
I'm a classic 4-4-2 man.
4-4-2. Okay.
I'm a classic 4-4-2 man.
Okay, so the other two in midfield.
No, okay. Well, I can adjust this one to be. I can adjust this one to. No, I don't want 4-3-3. I'll put 4-4-2. I'll put Mudalawal. I'll put Stephen Keshi. On the left, I will put Amunike for the goals he brought to the table. I'll put Amunike there. For the right, don't kill me. I grew up idolizing this man. Right side of my midfield is
finish first. We'll go there.
Is Segun Odegbami.
No doubt.
Don't argue with me.
Yeah, no argument.
The two up front. Well, another player you guys might not know, and another player that you know. My first pick would be Something Usiye.
That's 73 All-African games, have you?
73, 74. He played up until 76, actually. Something Usiye and Papilo.
No, Rashidi Yekini.
Sorry. Did I miss Yekini out? I'm sorry. I forgot that. Can I have 12 people in the team?
No, 11.
I mixed it up. What did I put? No. I mixed it up. I was sorry. I was going to do a 4-3-3 actually.
Okay.
A 4-3-3. But that means I was going to have Yekini, Usiye, and Odegbami as a 4-3.
Okay. So who is the third midfielder?
The third midfielder, Keshi Mudalawal, and well, actually, because I couldn't put Olise because they're too similar. Keshi and Mudalawal are too similar, and a lot of people I won't put JJ. I know why I won't put JJ. When I see him personally, I'll tell you why it won't get into my Nigerian team. I'm thinking. I would put, I'll put those two as maybe I'll play a 4-2-1-3.
Okay.
If I play a 4-2-1-3, I'll put Kanu in the hole
as the one
behind the three as the one. Yes. Okay. I'll put Kanu as my one. I'll put Odegbami, Yekini. And,
so you have
the other guy in front.
Eyama. What do you call the right back again?
Tony Igwe. Yes.
Chukwu, Gentle Giants.
Yes.
Isha Sofoluwe, who could also play as a right back. Isha Sofoluwe.
Yes, true.
Keshi, Mudalawal, Kanu, Amunike, Big Shegs, and Yekini.
Yekini, yes.
Interesting. There's Uncle Deji has a start-struck moment, a moment where he was start-struck. And it was a long time ago when he met the man that he put on the right side of his front three. Tell us about that.
Well, I was in secondary school. I was in Government College, Ibadan. And we're going from school in Apata to the stadium to do something. I think we're going to rehearse for Match Pass or something. Maybe it was National Day or Children's Day. And normally the driver of the bus has a strict instruction. He's not allowed to park. He's not allowed to let us get down at any point in the journey. But as we were going along, lo and behold, we're in some bit of traffic across the road on the other side. We saw Segun Odegbami. At this time, Segun was like a Cristiano Ronaldo would be to youngsters now. So what happened? Even before we told the driver himself to stop, the driver himself had stopped because it was starstruck. So we jumped down from the van, we ran across the street, and we were jumping and shouting and hailing, and and he was just looking at us and smiling like, what's wrong with all these small boys and harassing my life? That's how big he was in Ibadan that time.
Since you met him, did you tell him about this time and did he remember?
No, I did. I think he remembered faintly, but I'm sure he has been in that kind of situation countless times. So I'm not sure he will remember a particular incident, but I think he remembered very, very vaguely.
One last thing. No, two more things. Your advice to young people coming through or wanting to do this job, and secondly, lastly, can you imagine? All of a sudden, I forgot the last one. Your advice to young people who want to come into this industry. What's your advice to them?
Don't make money your motivation. Your integrity is your biggest currency.
And there's something that I attribute to you that you said. You said Nigerian football changed the day we qualified for USA 94.
Yeah.
That is the biggest change in Nigerian football history.
Positive and negative.
Positive and negative.
It had positive implications and negative implications. It had positive implications for our players who were able to go abroad and play for the biggest clubs. It had negative implications because our eyes left the local scene, followed our players abroad, and the local league suffered immeasurably from that.
And it's still suffering till date. As always, I'm very, very grateful. Thank you very much for joining me on Deji. Deji Omotoyinbo has been my guest on Night and Little Extra. I have big news on Tuesday next week. I have Derek Ray on this show on Night and Little Extra on Tuesday at 2 p.m. So please make a date. If you watch the Champions League in the 90s, Derek Ray used to do the commentaries with Tommy Smith back in the day. If you play FIFA, he's the guy that does the commentaries for the European game, whether the Champions League or Europa League on FIFA. So I'll be having Derek Ray next year. So please make it a date to join me. Thank you very much, Uncle Deji, for joining me. Everybody is thankful. Thank you to Tade, Brian, Kemi Dayo, Michael Adegbile, Deji Adebayo, Jeffrey Chidon, Emmanuel, Eri Asiedu, Sheyakide, and everybody that joined in. And I have to say, special thanks to Jibo Edowu for putting this together. Thank you very much for your support and all that. And Uncle Deji, thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you, Amil. Thank you for all of you. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for spending time with me this afternoon. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I will try and get the recording out and see how I can share it with people on my social media handle and see how we can chop it up and keep it for posterity. Thank you, everybody, and have a lovely weekend.